Now, without further delay, it is my genuine pleasure to introduce to you our very first speaker, NATALIE AGUIRRE.
Good morning. Before I start my presentation, I would like everyone in the theater to go ahead and look at the people sitting next to you, in front of you, and even those behind you. Go ahead, take a look. As you begin to look at the people sitting around you, you probably can't tell what classes they're taking. You probably don't even know what religion they follow. But something that you guys can probably tell about the people sitting next to you is their gender. However, there may be people sitting next to you today that you can't tell what gender they are. Maybe they seem like they're a female, but they're wearing men's clothing. Or maybe they seem like they're a male, but act too feminine to be one. That's when the lines of gender become blurred, and we can't tell what gender people are. Hi, my name's NATALIE AGUIRRE, and I'm gender fluid. Now, you may be wondering, what does it mean to call yourself gender fluid? Isn't that the same thing as being transgender? Actually, it isn't the same thing. Gender fluidity is relating to a person who doesn't associate themselves with a fixed gender. So gender fluidity can look like someone who prefers mixing their gender or doesn't express either gender at all. Because I'm in front of you guys in a suit, I do not see myself as more masculine, nor do I see myself as more feminine just because I'm wearing makeup. I am simply just me. And society has a difficult time understanding gender fluidity in this context because we have been conditioned that there's two genders, therefore there's only two ways to act. If you're a male, then you must act masculine. If you're a female, then you must act feminine. You can't fluctuate between the two. And that's why it makes it so difficult for people to accept us. Let's take this baby, for example. Let's name this baby Alex. Alex is a 6-month-old baby girl. After assigning this gender to the baby and asking people to describe the baby to me, the most frequent responses are, "Oh, she's so cute. How adorable. She's such a princess." However, when changing the gender to the exact same baby and asking people to describe this baby to me, the responses tend to differ. The responses now become, "Oh, he's so handsome. What a tough, strong boy." This goes to show, as a society, we are accustomed to categorizing people based on their gender norm. And that's why it's so difficult to accept those who are gender fluid, because we break those norms. And even for those who are accepting of people who are gender fluid, they still have a difficult time associating us with our preferred gender. For some people, they just can't tell, okay, do you want me to call you a he, a she? And if you find yourself in this predicament, go ahead and ask. Ask so you don't find yourself hearing, "Did you just assume my gender?" I know what you're thinking, but many of us have actually never used that phrase. But I can assure you, we definitely appreciate those who do ask that, because it shows that we matter, and it shows that you care about us. For me personally, I don't mind being seen as a man or a woman. However, for some people, seeing me as a man, for instance, has made me face discrimination. I faced discrimination in the summer of 2018, after I decided to cut my hair short. I was waiting in line in Disneyland, in the women's restroom. Feeling that the line was taking an eternity, likewise to their lines for roller coasters, I wondered how many people were waiting in this line. As I turned around, my eyes were caught on a mother and her child. The mother was giving me a disgusted look. She was holding her child close to her. And her expression, it became shock, but quickly went back to disgust. I realized that the mother had mistaken me for a man. When realizing that I was a woman, she was shocked, and I can only assume that she was disapproving of the way that I chose to express myself. I felt insecure. I felt insecure because the way that I decided to present myself made others uncomfortable. I had the urge to get out of line, go to the men's restroom, since I was already mistaken as one, but feared that the men in that restroom would see me as a female. I was lost, and those feelings followed me even here at school. worried that my peers would feel uncomfortable or get uncomfortable because I look like a man. And I even faced discrimination as recent as 2 weeks ago, a day before Thanksgiving break. But you know what? Despite all that, it doesn't stop me from being me. It doesn't stop me from expressing who I am, because I'm surrounded by friends who are supportive of those in the gender fluid community. And my friends aren't the only people who are supporting me. In January of 2017, California passed a bill to include non-binary when needing to state your gender. So when applying for your job or for your driver's license, or even in those college applications, you now have the option of male, female, and other. Other being for people like me who don't see themselves as male or female. But by passing this bill, it shows that society is becoming more accepting that there are more than two genders and there's more than two ways to act. Therefore, we can fluctuate in our gender. Along with passing this bill, there's also a rise of gender-neutral bathrooms. You find these gender-neutral bathrooms in your stores, in restaurants, and even in some schools today. By having gender-neutral bathrooms, people of gender fluidity, or even those who are transgender, don't have to undergo that discrimination that I faced that very day in that restroom. And although people may feel that there's not a predominant number of people who identify as gender fluid, so why even have gender-neutral bathrooms? There's actually a study by the LGBTQ advocacy of GLAAD that discovered that 22% of millennials identify other than male or female. This is compared to the 7% of baby boomers. These statistics go to show, as our society is becoming more accepting of those who are gender fluid, these statistics will only arise for future generations, making the need for gender-neutral bathrooms vital, along with accepting those who are gender fluid. And it's not too late to make a change. You can still get involved. And the best way to do so is through nonprofit organizations. As mentioned earlier, people in the gender fluid community are faced with discrimination every single day. And unfortunately, some people are faced with discrimination all the time. And, for some people, it might be too much to bear, and they take their own lives for it. The Trevor Project works with people who have a difficult time facing discrimination, and it serves as the nation's crisis intervention and suicide prevention provider. In the past year, the Trevor Project had over 46,000 lifeline calls. This means that they saved 46,000 lives. And for some people who are facing discrimination in the real world, they're even facing it in their own household. For some parents, they just find it difficult to accept their child as gender fluid. The nonprofit organization Gender Spectrum, they help with those who don't accept that. So like for parents, they have support groups and they educate them on the whole thing about gender fluidity so that they can reach acceptance. Gender Spectrum's goal is to create environments that are gender sensitive and inclusive for all children and teens. Acceptance is also advocated in our politics. The Human Rights Campaign, for example, one of the few political nonprofit organizations, campaigns for gender fluid rights. They campaign for those gender-neutral bathrooms. By having organizations and campaigns like these, my voice is being heard, and so are others in the community. And before I conclude my presentation, I would like to leave you guys with this quote. Strong people, they stand up for themselves. But stronger people, they stand up for others. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.